Hey, people. I was looking at the top of Psalm 56, and I could instantly see that this is a movie I had to put my teeth in for. There, that's better now. But, you see the top of this, to the chief musician, set to the dove silent. It looks like some instructions on the top of some music here. Set to the dove silent in distant lands of David, a Mictum. And that's why you have so many different versions, because nobody even knows what none of these words mean. They just make it all up, a technical term found in Psalms titles meaning uncertain. So I wanted to compare that with the Greek to help these indoctrinated scholars with some interpretations. And this first word in the Greek, this lets me know that this is Boon. It's a Greek script. It's the Boon language. These days, nobody knows when to use there, and they always blame it on spell check. But the ancient Boons, they had a cure for that. And the word was theys, Theys. We still use it today. And it's theys to tell, like They. The E does all that, and the Y, and your apostrophe S, and the S is a conjugation of be, is, I am, he is, and they are. And so the S is R, and so this is there. But this is Their, if your neighbor's dog's in your garbage, they's dog. Tell the neighbors they's dogs in my garbage. Well, I told them that they's dogs in your garbage, and they's coming to get them. So it's also when it's they is coming to get them, they are coming to get them. And they's dog, is their, Their, their dog. It's spelled the same way, and the following words will let you know which one they's means. It's the same Boon language. You hear it in the ghetto and in the country in the South today. And so I put this Greek besides the Hebrew and the Latin down below and color-coded it all to get a better look. And you can see that they didn't know the difference. When they wrote the Greek, they didn't know the difference between the people and set to the dove. And everything matches up here. And, the silent in the distant lands is from the holy things being afar. And this Mictum is for an inscription on a monument, and an inscription on your monument is, they's a telegraph when. There's a telegraph, a TELOGRAF, the Q, and the IA becomes a W, a win, the telegraph win. Yeah, they had telegraphs 5,000-6,000 years ago. And so it's not necessary, doesn't mean it was on a wire. You can telegraph with a mirror, sending light codes. Send Morse code by light. It's known as telegraph. When you're playing poker and your face is telling all, it's a telegraph. And so set to the dove, they ain't got a clue. But over here, this for the people, this is downtown. And this is a huge clue that tells you how this is read, and they's to tell as, whoever won, it's his, H-I-S, his to tell. The victor tells the history. It shows possession. It's not yarn. It's his, theirs, Their. And this two here, that's coming from this L. And that's represent. That L will be here, or sometime you'll see it, the here, the two. You see it here in front of David, now it's the T-O. And so this word downtown, how the song goes, where's all the people? For all the people downtown. And they's to tell as upper town. The L before the A reads as the N. The upper town, and then A-O, any Greek word, if you put A-O in front of it, it means not. And not what of. They're not from uptown. They're downtown, where all the pimps and whores are downtown, where all the lights. And so this makes better sense of this Hebrew over here, set to the dove silent, and played quietly, and his to tell as up or down, the T is the D, and the L before the A reading is the N, down, upper down. And you could tell that, he was the upper town Ayo, not what of. He ain't from this town because his tail, that he's telegraphing is loud, L-A-O-U-D, the loud of. Is ever too loud of. Go back downtown where y'all are loud. And that's why they have all the ancient gates and arches in the cities with the rules on, what time those gates would be shut. And over there at the downtown, at the loud town, those gates stayed open all night long. And so it looks like, the volume control and volume. And his to tell as up or down, to up or down loud of, set to the dove silent, quiet it down so we can't hear it over here in the distant lands. And his to tell appear to a loud of. And, the A word reading backwards, a pad, O-P-A-T, P-A-D, a pad on. That's a hippie pad where you go do drugs and have orgies, a pad on. And it's also an ox yoke. And then this A word reading backwards, the second N reads as a J, the J-O-I-N. The G sandwiched between this I and the A here reading as an N. I don't know exactly. I just know that it reads as an N often between the vowels. The same as angel. But a pad on join and the mem, that's the Hebrew mem, the waters, and it reads as an N, in. A pad on join on, A-N, on a Crimean. A Crimean, that's a polite way of saying a bunch of criminals hanging out. That's what was going on in Egypt. Every time it says Egypt, ma crime, from crime. And a pad on join on a Crimean of. Or a crime and out at Avid, A-D, O-D, at Avid every weekend. And his telegraph when he goes to the shit house and he writes on the wall, party at my place. And you could tell this was Egypt by this name here. A crat is a Naughton. A Naughton, that's your common Egyptian king's name. They's a telegraph when, and you could tell. A telegraph is a woman putting clothes on her clothesline is telegraph. It's telling somebody, who lives in that house, who she's doing laundry for. It's the red light that comes on at the hooker's door. It's something that could be tell from a distance. Tella. Send information over a distance by coded signal. Tella meaning a distant, and crap in meaning to write. What's on the shithouse wall, the crap in. And so a tell, if you look in a sandbox and there's a pile of sand there, that's a tell that the cat done took a poop there. A tell is something that's out of place. And the pile of poop in the sandbox is to tell a crap in. So probably about 20,000 years ago, the tell a crap was at the bathroom wall, the public restroom, and that's where whores would write their apartment number. I got the number from the telegraph. And his to tell as ever to a loud of. A pad on join on a crime and outed avid. A crime and outed avid, something that I did often. His to telegraph when, visit the bathroom, the public restroom, and find a new phone number. And a pote they crat is on oughten. A crat is the rule. The rule is on oughten. The things that you shouldn't do. And it'll be written at the arch. When you go in this part of the town, there's a list of rules here which you can and can't do. And a pote, and since and therefore, anything like that, they'll say that means. And I think it means more is it's been posted, and it's law. It's there. We did our part. Now it's your job. The rule is on oughten to follow the rules. When held him. These are things that have been withheld from. When held him, kept back. The rules which you shouldn't do, withheld. Or the ollie a fool in get the lesson from. The ollie a fool in get, that's the Philistines. They didn't know to read this other way. And the O-I becomes the E, which is the here. When you read the other way, it's a jolly, Joly, a jolly follies in, the A-E being the E-S, the L, double L, L-I-E-S, the jolly follies and get, and jolly, you were drunk and happy and folly and screwed up, and you will get the lesson. In that lesson, you over here in the Hebrew, that's the chain. But the chain is down here on the Greek, and the lesson, and from M-E, from H, H-O-D, H-O-S, from has, the lesson from has Audi. And has had Audi is the God who corrects you when you didn't follow the rules. The crat is on, the rule is on ought, and what you shouldn't did. And when the jolly follies in get the lesson from has Audi, what he should have did, he didn't. And Kate and comes down, kinda under the chain reaction to carry out a patazi. And that's what Mo coon-ass buddy used to say when we was playing poker. I was taking all his money. He tried to cast the curse on me, a patasa. But it's the fate is what it is. It's a bad pronunciation of fate, F-A-T-E, the fatesome. And get the lesson from has Audi, a Kate's fatesome. And then backwards, start with the A. And the fatesome supportin', and then the A-O, not Lenten, not got any Lent support. Come her on, to come her on, in the coming day, the comer on, the day of fallum on, fallum of the lips me. The fall them, and the N before the E is a V. The fall them of it lipsum. Support not lent in comer on fallum. When the day has fallen, when it came that day, the come her on, the day that's in the future has fallen, has got here. So, the fool, that's the moon, and the lips, is when it covers, when the sun goes the wrong way, when the sun goes up the moon's ass, that affliction. And then in the Hebrew, it's laments, L-M-N-T-Z-H, laments. Lamentations, they'll tell you that means to cry or wail. And then backwards, after this line, and laments in its animal, N-M-L. The cry of its animal, speak and spell. And the duck says, and the horse says, and laments its animal. And all he want, that's all I want, laments its animal, all he want. And laments its animal, all he want. And backwards, start with A. And the L reading is the N before the A. A manner check 'em. And laments its animal, all he wants a manner check 'em. That means I don't want to hear nothing but the birds singing. Everybody shut the hell up. This is the same God that was in the Greek. He was the God of, and get the lesson from has Audi. What you should have did, you didn't, And you're going to get the chain, patasa, the chain fatesome. And laments its animal, all he want, a manner check 'em. To do them, cut 'em. To do them, cut 'em. And cut, KT is an inscription. Why they didn't want to, from, cut, from is exactly what that means. I don't know why they couldn't interpret that. That's the easiest one. And they'll put, cut. They'll say it's inscription all the time. So I'm sure that this word shows up somewhere else, and they really didn't want to say what it meant because it really blew the top off. And to do them, cut 'em batches, what? He cut many batches, many copies. Not a stellograph, an inscription on a monument. No. Inscription on the newspaper, many in batches, what? and what a place to get. So it looks like Prince was coming to do his When Doves Cry concert, and he sent somebody out ahead, a dude to cut 'em batches, to put out the playbills, put a playbill on every corner, visit all the public outhouses, and write a message. The batches, what a place to get. And change, CHN, and the double N is reading as the I, and so it's two I's. It's a J in there, change. Get change. And backwards, mine, MIEN, and mine a kiss upon. And backwards, a cynical, like in the Greek, the U is the Y, sin, SYN, a cynical, and all men are cynical. Coming from the word cynic, meaning like a dog, all men are a bunch of dogs. Coming from cynicos, dog-like, and mine a kiss upon a cynical will come. You see the L come, the same. It's the come is over here in the day, the comer on, the one in the future, the fall, and L come is coming from the fall and the come here. And it means, your day will come, what you're doing isn't advised. And Hayam, that means, it's high time, that everything happens at high noon. So, when the sun's high, it's time. It came time. And the cynical, and mine a kiss upon a cynical Hayam is come time will come. Alexing, ILEX, Alexing is where your word Alexis comes from. I can't read is what it means. He oppresses me. And usually they say oppresses is niggers. And lexing, that has to do with the meaning of words, changing in different subjects is lexing. And that's why one reason it's so confusing, because all the words have three different meanings. But he oppresses me, usually they say that's niggers. And all this group of words in here, is the niggers, and we're distressed and hard pressed. And I found some good stuff on that in 1 Samuel 13:6 here, where it says, the lucky, Luky, the lucky niggers, and the straight were hard distressed. But yeah, they'll confuse that up all the time. It goes either way. And so mine a kiss upon, mine, you see that agina in there, the JENAC, aginacy, is the Greek word for the woman. And the aginacy, and a kiss upon a cynical, like a dog. A dog kisses licking it. And mine a kiss upon a cynical, Hayam will come a lexing. And it comes a time as a cynical, and all men, Hayam has come the time will come, the Hayam will come, the time has come a lexing. When you'll figure out which the words mean, a lexing, is, lexing, known as lexical analysis, scanning or tokenizing, is the process of breaking down a string of characters into meaningful units. That's what I spend my life doing. I never knew that this was the word for it. And so this just makes me think, every time I read the Bible, it just makes me think that it's about me, And a man all day fighting, he oppresses me. That's me. I am that man that I spend all day fighting Alexing. And I do this because I don't know why I never believed the story. I'd never been a Christian. I could just tell that there was something in there that the people just had their head up their ass. They weren't getting the story. I talked to an older Christian lady, older than me, really nice lady, and must have talked over an hour outside after we had lunch at the Chinese joint. And she was very open-minded, the most open-minded Christian I've ever seen. But she said, I could see that there was a problem. The story never really made sense, and the church never really wanted to answer my questions. They couldn't answer. And I told her, that's what my mom told me, is the church told her, do not read the Bible, it'll just confuse you. And so, it's been going on for thousands of years, and And finally they wrote this King James Version. And what it's done is turned everybody's brain into mush. They made it easy for the people, the loud, to breed. And the curious, they've shrunk away. Curious is the Lord in the Greek. They're the Nephilim, the sons of God. And so as far as I know, when I investigate, nobody's ever did this before. Nobody's ever learned how to read this before. It makes me think that, it's this the time. I must be the chosen one. But then again, I don't know how many people might have did this before, but were shut up. They were censored. We don't read their books. Laments its animal. The cry of its animal, all I want, is silent. Not this animal. This animal. When doves cry, silent. And so if I have any Christians still watching, I'll leave this link here to this book, the Horace Lyricus poems, chiefly of the lyric kind. And it's written 1789. And it was on the censored list for a long time, is why you didn't hear it. But if you just read across this preface on the top, you'll see that I'm not the only person who's ever thought that we might have had a bad translation on the Bible. And he'll tell a little bit why they did it and point some of this out. And I'll leave a link to this below, free book on Google Books. And I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.